Good morning, Kensington. If you could just come on in here, stand up. We're going to worship together. My name's Colton. I'm so happy to be here with you this Sunday.
here at Kensington, welcome. I think there's a reason you're here today, and that maybe God has something specifically for you in today's service. And we've been looking forward to today for months now. Know why? It's our fall groups kickoff. That means our small groups, courses, and care workshops are starting up again. Each one of these are what we call jump-in opportunities, a place for you to connect and grow. We believe building community and authentic relationships is a vital part of our spiritual journey. So here are just some of the opportunities we have for everyone this fall.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Kelly, Discipleship Director at Orion Campus, and I know that Kensington can seem like a really big place, and it could feel easy to get lost. So we're working hard to create opportunities for you to connect with others. I'm excited to share with you just a little bit about our small groups. Most groups meet regularly, usually weekly, in people's homes, coffee shops, or wherever it works best to study the Bible, to discuss the weekend service, or just to do life together. And we have all sorts of small groups. We have groups for families, couples, singles, for men only or women only. We even have a group for newlyweds and another at Orion doing great dates for couples. We believe that God designed all of us to be in relationship with others and to not do life alone. So I would love for all of you to check out what our small groups have to offer.
I wanted to tell you about our courses, which are another great way to jump in this fall. Courses meet for several weeks on a topic that's important to you. It's a great way to invest in your growth while connecting with like-minded people. Here are some courses that may interest you. Alpha is a discussion course where you can explore questions about life and who God is. You listen to a teaching on a key theme of the Christian faith and then participate in a group reflection. Alpha is for everyone. There's no question too big and no topic that's off limits. Another course created right here at Kensington for your own community is Bible Basics. When you invest time in understanding the mysteries of the Bible, that's time well spent. So whether you're new to the Bible or have been reading it for decades, this course will give you an understanding of Scripture's big picture and how all the books of the Bible flow together. We've also heard great things from our couples who have taken the marriage course. This is an opportunity to strengthen and grow your marriage, whether you've been married for 6 months or 40 years. And whether you're in a good season or you're struggling, you'll get practical support to communicate more effectively, understand each other's needs, resolve conflict, and more.
Hi, I'm Adrienne Dundon, and I am really passionate about our care initiatives because I have seen the incredible impact they have had on real people during their hardest seasons of life. Being a participant and a leader in our Celebrate Recovery ministry over the last 8 years has equipped me with the tools to be able to walk through and process the uncertainty of this season that we have been walking through. After the year and a half that we've had, so many of us need a safe place to heal and process. So maybe it's not time to jump into a traditional small group. Maybe it's your time to pursue your own wholeness. The goal of our care initiatives is to provide a safe, distraction-free place where you can heal from the hurts of life and be equipped for the adventures of life. We offer divorce recovery, grief recovery, blended family workshops, and ongoing Celebrate Recovery for the whole family. We also support marriages and families with mentorships, classes, special small groups, and marriage preparation. When facing hard times, tough decisions, or stressful circumstances, investing in yourself is so important. We believe that Jesus is at the center of working through the healing process, and that process can be helped by walking alongside others.
We've been through more than a year of isolation, transition, and loss, haven't we? Many of us are in need of real community now more than ever. But God knows you and sees you and made us to live in relationship. So don't let today go by without investigating all your choices to get connected here at Kensington. Find a group near you by visiting kensingtonchurch.org/groups and filtering by your zip code and preferences. Or come out after services to the lobby and we'll be waiting to answer your questions about groups, courses, and care initiatives. Take the first step and we'll help you find the group that's right for you, no matter your life stage, interests, or needs. Good morning. Maybe. Good morning. Oh, there it is. There it is. Hi, good morning. Welcome to Kensington. My name is Jenny, and I'm going to just say right off the bat to get it off my shoulder that it's strange to come up after watching yourself on that video. So, thank you all for being here. We're thrilled that you're here. Those of you joining us virtually, welcome. We really believe that today is going to be a great service and hope that it's an encouragement to you. I wanted to let you know about a few things happening around Kensington, and there are 2 specific events that have been planned to help you get connected, but also to get recharged. Some of us need that right now. So for the ladies, we have an event happening this coming Saturday, September 18th, called Getaway. It's a one-day event where we've planned a full day of worship and teaching Good food and time to laugh and talk together. It's my girls said, Mom, you need so much time to talk. And I said, I know, and I don't always get that on Sundays. So this will be a full day of opportunity to connect relationally and get to know each other better. For the men out there, our annual men's retreat is happening October 8th through 10th at the renowned Spring Hill Camps. So it promises to be a weekend of adventure and fun, but also very significant moments. And so both of those opportunities, the registration is open. You can find that at kensingtonchurch.org/events, and we would be thrilled if you would join us at one of those. Now, as you saw and heard in the video, this is the perfect month to get connected. September is a great month for launching into new groups and new community. Our new groups are starting, our courses are relaunching, and it's really, for me, as I think about this past year and a half, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that we are not meant to do life alone. And so we wanted to provide an opportunity for you to jump in, and for those of you to whom small groups are a new idea, we wanted to give you a glimpse into what kinds of groups are open and also introduce you to some of the people who are leading and facilitating those groups so that you don't feel like you're walking in blind. So will you welcome my friends as they come up? Keep coming, a little more, Dan. There we go, a little more. That's perfect right there. Okay, so we're gonna go down the line here really quickly. I'm gonna introduce you to 3 different group opportunities. And so would you share your name, what kind of group you lead, and why you're passionate or excited about serving that way in this season?
Hi, I'm Dan Moradian, and I lead a men's small group. And the reason why I'm passionate about small groups is it motivates me to read and study the Bible, and it's a great way to have some other guys hold me accountable to do it also. And then it's also nice to have some other guys that are fathers and husbands that I can do life with. So that's a huge part of it.
That's perfect. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate that.
Hi, I'm Roxanne Perry, and my husband and I will be leading a Be the Bridge group. So is Lisa. I won't steal her thunder, though. We began Be the Bridge virtually during the pandemic season, and we'll be leading that virtually again. So we invite you into our living room and to connect on some wonderful, deep dive discussions. I always say, we're virtual, so bring your relative that's in Illinois or California or wherever they are. Bring them along.
Awesome. Thanks, Rox.
Hi, I'm Lisa Denny. I hope you can all hear me through the mask. I have a mom who I say is winning the battle against cancer, so have to be extra careful.
Love it.
But I guess my why I'm passionate about this is simple. It's Jesus. Be the Bridge is learning about God's heart for racial reconciliation. God's heart for his people as one people group. So we invite you to come be part of being the bridge. A bridge connects 2 people, 2 groups, many different groups. And in our group, it's a safe space where we learn about each other, we hear from each other, we learn about our different life experiences, we share, and God and the Holy Spirit do the transformation of the heart work. So I invite you all to come be part of Being the Bridge. We meet virtually on Tuesday nights from 7 to 8:30 for 10 weeks. And it's a course where we're really going to dig into what does God's Word, the Bible, say on this topic? What does God say his heart is for his people? And we invite you to take that journey with us.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. My name is Ryan. This is my wife, Lauren Oliver, and we are starting a new newly marrieds group or recently marrieds group. And the main reason for that is that when we were married about 15 years ago, we did the marriage course and we joined a similar life group, and it just had a lasting impact on us that really gave us a foundation for our marriage so that we were prepared for the plans that God has for us, and we want to share and grow that with other newlyweds that are starting that phase of their life. And so we're meeting, the plan right now is to meet on Sundays every other week starting October 24th. But since it's a brand new group, that's flexible based on kind of interest of those that are interested. So I think we're looking forward to getting to know you and growing in fellowship. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. Would you give them a round of applause? It's not easy to get up on stage and, right? Talking to a microphone. Thank you all. And as they make their way back to their seats, I'm just going to share something really quickly with you. And this was from a friend. She sent this to me this morning, and I thought it was timely as we're talking about living life together. It said this: we need one another. We need one another for prayer and perspective, for protection and encouragement. We need one another because we're in a spiritual battle. We need one another because sometimes we're weak and vulnerable, and other times we need one another because we're too strong and proud. We need one another to know one another and to be known, as is the heart of God. And I just thought, how perfect as we are talking this morning about stepping into group life together. So come find us in the lobby, come talk to us, or you can always go to kensingtonchurch.org/groups to see what kind of opportunities are open and available to you. And I hope you'll do that today. Now we're in the first week of a brand new series called I Feel. And if you're anything like me, we've felt the whole range of emotions over this past season. Some of us just this weekend, I know for me. And so as we kind of journey through the story and life of David through this series, I hope that you can find yourself in that story. So let's invite God to speak to us, and let's listen to this song as it sets the tone for our time together today.
Let's just sing. you come? Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? Come on, sing that again. I'm not enough unless you. Will you meet me here? All I want, 'cause all I want is all you are. 'Cause all I want is all you are. 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again?
It's beautiful. It's as the team was singing and we were talking about this song, it was this deep felt desire. I don't know about you, but for me, I was talking to my friend Greg last week, and we were talking about how so much of this season has almost been this idea of just trying to survive, just trying to get through to whatever that next line is in our life that we hope, we desire more of a sense of whether it's security or peace. And she said it almost feels like sometimes we have forgotten all the emotions because we're just trying to get through today. And I believe as I'm hearing that song, it's this invitation to draw close. That God is inviting us to come close to Him and hear Him and let Him speak to the very depths of our heart. And that's what we're talking about in this series called I Feel. I want to read this psalm, Psalm 13. It's a psalm of David. He said this, "How long, Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I wrestle with my thoughts and day after day have sorrow in my heart? How long will my enemy triumph over me?" Have you felt that? At some point, especially in this past season, you felt this moment of being unseen or disconnected? Have you felt that and kind of tucked that feeling away and just avoided it and said, I'm just trying to get through today? See, I realize that so often my heart hurts and needs longing for more joy and more hope, and yet I find myself wandering from time to time. So that's what I want to talk about today. That's what we want to start into in this series called I Feel. So before I do, let me just introduce myself. If we haven't met, my name is Justin Warnes. My wife was up here earlier. She is the better half of our entire life. We have 4 children, and I really love school, as I've been mentioning lately to this community. I've been excited for this next season, just the time of them being away from me, even though I love them a lot. It's really great. And so what I've been thinking about is we're looking at the series of I Feel. I don't know about you, but I have a lot of feelings, and I've noticed there's a lot of things that have happened lately, and there's a lot of triggers that have happened in my heart as a parent. I have a lot of feelings about my kids getting older. Our 3rd daughter just went into kindergarten. This is the first time for the next 20 plus years that all 3 of our children, or our 3 of 4 children, will be at one location and one drop-off. I am so excited about that alone. But then I also realized that there are moments as a husband, as an employee, as a neighbor, there have been these moments that have been difficult in this past season, right? You feel that? You have those emotions, you have those moments. And one saying I've been adopting lately is this: the hard work is the hidden work. I'm noticing the hard work that needs to happen in my life, and it's hidden. And sometimes I want to avoid it. Anyone else like to avoid hard things? Come on. Yes, you know it. All right. It wasn't that hard to raise your hand. You didn't have to lie already. But do you notice there are moments in your day that trigger you? Like, I don't know about you, but in this past season, one of these moments, any Friends fans out here? Anybody love the TV show Friends? Okay, so the Friends reunion happened. This, for me, in the middle of this pandemic, brought me so much joy. right? I was like, I needed this. I've been waiting for years and years for this to come back, and I had these nostalgic moments that came back. Like I remember going over to my buddy Matt's house, and it was such a simpler time then. We'd go over, because we taped it on a VHS tape, so we watched it later. That's a whole different conversation and message. But we'd go over, and it was this moment of just laughing together as kids, right, as friends. Or I'd go in college, it was in our dorm rooms all the time, just replaying over and over again, and you can find it on TBS every single moment. But then there was this moment this week, I don't know if you saw this, but do you guys remember Blue's Clues? Anyone remember Blue's Clues? Did you see the video? I mean, somebody described it, this moment, Steve, if you don't know, he went off to college 21 years ago, okay, on Blue's Clues. And he came back this week. And he decided to share some things with everybody. And somebody described it in a newspaper. They said this. When I say newspaper, I meant online, right? Okay. They described it as the big, warm hug we didn't know we needed. It's like it triggers something in you. And then I think the thing that connected so deeply with my heart in this season was Ted Lasso. Oh, my man, Ted Lasso, he believes. There's something about Ted Lasso. When we started watching this show, there was something that just kind of connected with my heart. It was like hope being infused inside of me. Why do I need moments like that? Because we have noticed that we have been triggered so often because there's something deep within inside of us. I love how Steve Carter, a friend of Kensington and writer, said this in his book, The Thing Beneath the Thing. He said these triggers are often like potholes that we've tried to use a quick fix and pave over. But if we don't address them, they become sinkholes, whether in the activity that we use to avoid them, frustration or bitterness. Until the patch doesn't work, the potholes have a potential to turn into a sinkhole. So moment after moment, and today we're talking about this idea of feeling unseen. This idea in the middle of everything going on, do you feel this sense of being unseen ever, abandoned, frustrated, alone, disregarded? Because when we have those moments, what do we do with that feeling? Do we just pave over the pothole and say, I'm going to deal with the bitterness tomorrow? I'm just going to get through today until the answer that I'm looking for arrives. So that's what I want to look into the story of David, one of these moments where we see him unseen, and yet how does God see David? Before we do, I want to take a moment and receive our offering. This is one of the moments that I am just so thankful for this community. One of the cool things that happened last week is we had Jackson, our middle school director, teach, and he shared a few of the moments of when you give, you are part of the stories of next generation, having incredible moments in this past season, baptisms, moments where they've gathered, events where they've connected and found community. In our student ministries and our kids ministries right now, the incredible impact you have on the next generation. So when you give, you are part of stories that are impacting generations upon generations. And I just want to say thank you. I want to thank you for your generosity in this season. I want to thank you for your partnership. And so there are a couple ways that you can give. You can see on the screen, you can text, you can go online, and even on the way out, there are buckets for you to use as well. One of the other things I want to just do a quick update on is I want to thank you for your partnership with Kensington in what is happening in Afghanistan. One of the things that you have been a partner with us is helping these families get out. And we, as a team, we've convened and talked about this. In the past couple weeks, we've already seen numbers of families, I believe over 30 already reported families that have been able to get out of Afghanistan and get into safety because of your generosity, and many, many more. Our partnership with Big Life has said Kensington gave one of the most generous gifts as a part of supporting it. Over $200,000 were given as a gift to that community to help get families out of Afghanistan and into safety. So I just want to take a moment and celebrate that with you. Thank you for that and appreciate that you are part of those stories, and yet invite you to continue to pray. Because that's one of the things that as we've been in this season and the pain that has happened, there's also been sad stories in the process as well. So be praying for those families and be praying for this community. The other thing I want to take a moment for, because I have a lot of feelings about this weekend. I don't know about you, yesterday was a unique day. I was thinking about the time when Jenny and I went out to New York City and we were at the 9/11 memorial. And yesterday I found myself going back through the pictures that I took that day and what I saw and the stories of courage. the stories of first responders and the bravery that they exemplified, the stories of people who still, when you think of the story of being unseen, the ones who are lost and haven't been identified, and their stories as families. So I wanted to, before we go into this scripture about unseen, I wanted to take a moment and just take 10 seconds in silence, and then I wanted to pray, if you would join me. God, we come before you knowing that 20 years ago was a life-changing moment. 20 years ago, there was so much that happened as a result of that morning. I want to pray for the families, the courageous ones, the first responders who went back in, went into the smoke, went into the chaos to save lives, and some laying down their very own to do so. Pray for the families who have lost, who have felt unseen at times, Lord, that we would lift them up today. Pray that you would draw near to them, comfort them as you promised to comfort them. Lord, we lift them up to you today. May we have a sense, a moment to remember of the gratefulness that we have for one another, that we would encourage each other and point each other to greater things. In Jesus' name, amen. Let me kind of point us back into this idea of being seen. What does it mean for us to be seen? I love what Mark Laberton wrote. He's a president at Fuller Seminary, an author. He shares this in his book, The Dangerous Act of Loving Your Neighbor, which is a great title, by the way. Seeing is important and reliable in many ways, but it is neither neutral nor comprehensive. Sight is not just what we see, but how we see. And that is a function of values, experiences, relationships, associations, beliefs, culture, race, gender, and age. This means that everything we see passes through invisible lenses of perception that take a lot of information the eye receives and the brain sorts and places it within a framework of our experience or understanding or plausibility. When we see simply this, what we see is distorted. We don't see the full truth, the full picture. We don't see how God sees. We don't see everything the way that it impacts us and impacts our community. And as we look at the story of David, I believe we get to see a more full picture of how God sees, how God loves, how God invites us to draw near. And my hope is that maybe in this season, something will stir in us that if we have felt unseen, or we've known people who feel unseen, we draw closer to them. So maybe if I ask you a question, when was a moment that you felt unseen? There was probably a few moments that might come back to you. Maybe you went out for a sports team and you didn't get picked. Maybe you gave a sales pitch in the office and you didn't feel like people reacted the way you thought they should. Maybe you got passed over for a promotion or a job and you felt like something that you deserved. I remember one of the moments that I felt unseen. I had to give a pitch about the future of kind of a direction of something that was going on in our organization. And so I gave this pitch to the entire community. Now, there is one moment where you feel unseen when nobody acknowledges you. There is a totally different level of feeling unseen when somebody tells you other people are better than you. Like that is like not just unseen, but disregarded and painful. And I had this moment. It was this moment of rejection where I felt like I wasn't just passed over, I was pushed aside and kicked in the process, right? And so you go back to that and think about how those moments, little ones in your life, begin to shape how you see the world and see yourself in the world. Like I've thought about that moment. I don't know about you. I've thought about the more negative moments in my life than the positive ones. Have you ever had a coach critique you? Like, you played an incredible game. I'm not drawing this from personal experience. His name isn't Coach. I'm just kidding. You had a moment where you played an incredible game. I had this one time. It's like, you did awesome, but worst thing to say. You did awesome, but this part, you were terrible. You're just terrible. And you're like, oh, that was a compliment until it wasn't. Right? And that's what happens. In this moment, we look at the story of David. And to give you some context, in the story of David, there's a moment where the people wanted a king. And God allowed the Israelite people to have a king, and his name was Saul. And Saul looked the part of the king. He acted like a king until he didn't act like one anymore. And so then God uses Samuel, this prophet, this kingmaker, to pick a new, unlikely candidate as the new king. And so it's 1 Samuel 16, verse 1. The Lord said to Samuel, "How long will you mourn for Saul, since I've rejected him as king over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and be on your way. I am sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem. I have chosen one of his sons to be king." See, here's a moment where Samuel begins to step into the situation where he gets to meet David. But the thing that Samuel doesn't see is the full picture. And we're going to see how God sees the full picture in our lives. God sees the full picture that sometimes we don't. So Samuel knows that he's about to step into a difficult moment, but there's something that is fearful in him. He doesn't want to come back to this moment where he knows he has to address Saul, and he knows that he has to do this in a way. So what Samuel does is he goes to see Jesse and to meet David, though he doesn't know it's David, and he goes under this idea of this ceremony so he can invite Jesse's family to meet him. And so Jesse gathers his sons, and it says this in verse 6. When they arrived, Samuel saw Eliab and thought, "Surely the Lord's anointed stands here." This was the oldest son. "Stands here before the Lord." But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." So it's right at the beginning, Samuel goes to see who is the potential king. And he believes it's the oldest, the good-looking, the tallest one, the one who looks like a king, just like Saul was. And yet God said, "This is not the king that I have for my people. I am looking at the heart." Then Jesse called Abinadab and had him pass in front of Samuel. But Samuel said, "The Lord has not chosen this one either." Then Jesse had Shammah pass by, but Samuel said, "Nor has the Lord chosen this one." Jesse had 7 of his sons pass before Samuel, but Samuel said to him, "The Lord has not chosen these." So all of the oldest brothers, all the ones who should be the king, all the ones who are supposed to be the king based on their look and appearance are not the king. As I was reading this week, there was something that challenged me so deeply. There was something I hadn't seen before. Danny Cox and I, our Troy teaching pastor and lead pastor, was looking at this, and we said, as we looked into this story, what would you feel? Because I don't know about you, I don't always think about this. What would you feel if you were one of the 7 sons who got passed over? Have you ever thought about that? If you've grown up in the church and you've heard this story before, often we always look at the person of David. We never look at the brothers. All 7 of them were told they were not good enough, the right person, they didn't have the right heart to be king. So how would you feel if what we know that it's going to happen in just this moment, that you aren't the chosen one? Because if we're honest, we often think through the stories of our life being the chosen one. Movies are built around the idea that you're the chosen one. Neo of the Matrix is the chosen one. Harry Potter's going to go against Lord Voldemort, right? You have Frodo in Lord of the Rings. Luke Skywalker against the Imperial Army. You have Benny the Jet Rodriguez and the Sandlots. And you have my favorite, Charlie Conway with the Triple Deke and the Mighty Ducks. You're always, as the underdog, coming back to be the chosen one. That is the way that we see our world. What happens when we're not chosen? How do we feel when we are unseen? See, as I read this, I wondered just for a moment, before we jumped into the story of David fully, that what if we were one of the brothers? How would we feel? Would we feel like God had abandoned us? See, one of the beautiful things I believe about this story, this story that we're in, is that we may not be someone's choice, but we are always chosen. That is a truth that I struggle with, right? That sometimes if it doesn't go my way and somebody doesn't give me the accolades that I want, I don't get the approval I want, I don't get the promotion I want, I can almost feel like I am unseen, abandoned, disregarded, and pushed aside. And I can start to believe that just because I'm not someone's choice, I am not chosen by the God who says I am his son. One of the things that is so important that we lean into is realizing that we don't always see the full picture, but God sees the full picture. Just because we are overlooked in a particular situation does not mean we don't have a place in this world to bring God's voice and kingdom along with us. God always sees us. David's brothers always had the opportunity to step into whatever God would call them into, whatever particular situation God would point them to. We may not always be invited to be the king, but we are always chosen as sons and daughters. So one thing I would invite you to think about is, what is the particular mission or direction or vision God is inviting you into? And maybe there's a moment today you start realizing, I have been so caught thinking I didn't get what I want that I'm forgetting where God is leading me. While all of this is happening to his brothers, David has no idea. He's completely unaware. He's out doing the chores of their everyday experience. And so Samuel sends for him, and he said this, "Send for him, your other son." Said this, "Are these all the sons you have?" "There is still the youngest," Jesse said. "He is tending the sheep." So Samuel said, "Send for him. We will not sit down until he arrives." So now think about the brothers. Now there is some tough moments here as brotherly love. If you've been a brother where you've had to wait for somebody else who's going to get everything you want, it's a tough moment. "Send for him. We will not sit down until he arrives." So he sent for him and had him brought in. And he was glowing with health and had a fine appearance and handsome features. And then the Lord said, "Rise and anoint him. This is the one." So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David. Samuel then went to Ramah. You think about this moment. This is the moment where David is going from being unseen, where God is seeing a much more full picture for David's life than even his own father saw for him. His dad didn't even think it was a chance for him to be the king, that he was out in the field still doing work. If you want to talk about feeling unseen, I don't know what could cause more drama in a family than this moment. But here is what the Lord looks after. It said this in 1 Samuel 13. "The Lord has sought out a man after God's own heart, and appointed him ruler of his people." Not only does God see the full picture, but God sees the heart. And that is what he cares about. As a leader, in your businesses, in your workplace, in the community PTA that you're a part of, has there ever been a moment where you've had to look past a mistake, a frustration, a way that somebody acts and sees their heart and knows that it's good? You've had a connection with somebody that you work with, you work beside, and they had a rough day. And you don't know the whole picture, but you know something's off and you had to see their heart. What happens in those moments in your relationship? You're able to flourish still. We don't hold it over people, but we step into it. Now, I had a moment this week. We went for Labor Day to a water park as a family, and I went to go get lunch for our family. So I'm just taking a quick little jaunt over to Panera Bread, get some lunch, because my kids only like bread, bagels. No matter what meal it is, it's how much carbs can I carbo load. That's my children's request. And so that doesn't frustrate me at all. But one of the things that happens is, so I get into the parking lot, and I get I walk in, I grab the meal, I get back in the car, I look, check my mirrors, right? I start to back out, and then I look, and it's happening. Somebody didn't see me, and this person behind me backs out and hits our vehicle. Now, I don't know about you, we have two vehicles. We have the vehicle I don't care that gets hit, and we have the vehicle that I don't want to get hit. I was in the vehicle that I really didn't want to get hit, and all of a sudden, I just hear the crash, I feel it, and I'm frustrated. I am so upset in that moment. I get out, start talking with the lady. I'm like, okay, fix your face. Don't let everyone know how frustrated you are. See their heart. You're going to talk about this on Sunday. Okay? You need to talk about it. And then the cop pulls up, and the moment happens, and I'm just like, oh, this isn't going to go well. She goes, oh, so-and-so. Remember we used to work together 20 years ago? I'm like, oh no, this is not going to go well for me. I am losing at every level. I felt like the cop didn't really even talk to me. He talked to her, and I just stood there, right? So anyways, I'm frustrated. I get back. I have to text Jenny. I'm like, hey, I got in an accident. I'll be back in a little while. I have all the kids' lunches. Good luck. So then I get back to the water park, and my kids are asking all sorts of questions. And I was not patient. I was feeling the frustration. My heart was not in a good place. And it was really difficult. And I felt bad, and I was like, what could I have done different? I'm thinking about all the different things. When we got home, I don't know if you've ever felt unseen. I felt unseen for multiple reasons. But my daughter did this, and I just wanted to share it with you. I get back, and I go into my bathroom at night, and I look, and there's this 3x5 card. And this is what she wrote to me. Here's $15 to help with the car. I want to give this to you because you do a lot for me. I'm sad this thing happened. I want to help. This is from my spend jar. I love you. I've never felt more seen. I've never felt more loved in that moment. Because I was really frustrated with her about 2 hours earlier. I've forgotten about that entirely. Because there was a way in the moment that she showed me her heart. And it showed me what really mattered in the moment. I would take a car accident to have that moment happen again every single time. You think about this moment in David's life. This moment was one of the most profound moments that would happen before him. It was the moment where he was chosen for his future. He was chosen for the way that he would lead and love people. He was chosen to have an impact on the world. He would have an impact upon the entire community that he would get to lead. And in that moment, it's because of God seeing his heart, because God sees the full picture. He sees everything that is going on, and then he sees the heart of David, and he knows that David has the heart to lead, to love people, to serve people, to point them back to him in the way that the previous king didn't. What I needed in that moment that I didn't even know is my daughter saw how I felt, saw the pain in my heart. And she took a moment to love me and show me that. And it's one of the most beautiful pictures that I can offer you. Because I believe that God often takes the moments where we are struggling, where we are down on ourselves, and he sees us. He sees the full picture. He sees our hearts and what he longs for. And then he sees the need. He sees the need for you. He sees the need for the community. And this is what I want to focus in on. One of the last things that I want to share is this psalm in the way that Jesus connects to David's heart. See, there's this Psalm 22, and it starts out this way. It says, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me, so far from my cries of anguish? My God, I cry out by day, but you do not answer. By night I find no rest, yet you are enthroned as the Holy One. This is David writing these words, the one who God chose. He's saying, this is my heart. I feel unseen. He said, yet you are enthroned as the Holy One. You are the one Israel praises. In your ancestors put their trust, and they trusted you, and you delivered them. To you they cried out and were saved. In you they trusted and were not put to shame. See, David, in the moment of feeling unseen, in the moment of feeling disregarded, he is invited to draw close, and in his prayer, in his desperate prayer, saying, I feel so unseen, he goes back to the truth that God has seen his people. God has been with his people. God has seen their heart. God has seen their need and has stepped into it over and over again. But for me, And I don't know for you if you caught it, if you've maybe read some of the scriptures and you've seen the moment of Jesus, these very words, my God, why have you been forsaken me, were uttered by Jesus himself. And what is beautiful about this story of the psalm that we follow, this Psalm 22, where David's writing it, David goes from feeling forsaken to then clinging to the promise that God would step into the lives of him and his people and help lead them through the moments that they're in, to take them from the moments of feeling unseen to feeling seen, loved, and cared for. And yet I was like so caught up in this scripture because Jesus, if you think about it, in this moment on the cross, knows that you and I feel unseen. There is a brokenness, there is a hurt, there is a wonder in our lives, and yet as he utters this word, at the very end of this psalm, the very last words of the psalm, it says that he, God, has done it. He has proclaimed his righteousness, and he declared it for future generations. So the God who says, why are you forsaken me, David, as he's praying, and Jesus as he's uttering it, at the very end of the psalm, it finishes with saying, God has taken care of it. And for me, the beautiful moment of God saying, you, not only do I see you, and I see your heart, and I see your need, but I am the one who draws close. I am the one, Jesus saying, I am the fulfillment of this very prayer. This prayer of David is going, where are you, God? Where is this promise answered? Jesus saying, I am the provision. I am the thing you've been looking for. Jesus saying, I am the one who draws near and says, not only do I see you, but I know what you need. I know what you long for. I know what you hope for. I know what burden you're carrying and what bitterness is on your heart. And I want to come close. God doesn't just see you in your moments of feeling unseen. He seeks you out. He sacrificed his life for you and says that you are his son and daughter, and he wants to draw you close. One of my favorite psalms, another prayer, is out of Psalm 139. It's where God shows us, not only do I see you, I know you. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit down and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going and my lying down. You are familiar with all of my ways. God knows you. He pursues you. He made you. In verse 13, it said, for you were created in my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know them full well. My frame is not hidden from you. When I was made in my secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. My encouragement as we realize in that moment of feeling unseen, abandoned, or frustrated, may we remember these truths where God says, I came close so that you would know how much I see you, how much I love you, how in the middle of your brokenness, I am the answer. I am the hope that you have been looking for. May we seek out people who point us back to that full picture of God, that full picture in the ways that we see. What my daughter did for me is she pointed me back to the way that she sees me, the way that God sees me. And I believe that we as a community, one of the beautiful things of why we're doing this group push is we point each other back in life to where God sees us when we find ourselves feeling unseen. How he loves us when we feel unloved, how he walks with us when we feel distant, and how he continues to draw us close. I believe that God always is taking the half-truths that we have believed in our life and reminds us of his truth and his hope. And my question for us to kind of cling to this week is, are we willing? Are we willing to lean into God's voice who says, I see you? And give him not only the access, the permission, but the time to search our hearts and say, this is what I see. I see you as chosen. I see you as loved. I see you as a son and a daughter. I see you, and I am drawing you close. Heavenly Father, as we recognize that you sought out David, even though others didn't see him as your hope, your future, your leader, that you sought him out. You saw him. You saw his heart. You saw his need. In the very same way you do that for us. Not only do you do that for us in every single day, but you did that for us on the cross when you invited us close through your sacrificial love. You said you would lay it all down because we, as your sons and daughters, have been chosen by you to feel hope again, to feel loved again, to not feel distant, but to be drawn close. Lord, we give you our hearts and say, would you dig deeper into them and point us back to you? In Jesus' name, amen.
If you could just stand up with us. Yes, he died for me. won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. Come on, if you believe that this morning. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up. Oh. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, Anybody thankful for that this morning? Praise God.
I love those words because they are the reminder of how seen we are, how loved we are, that his love is so reckless in beautiful ways that it keeps fighting for us. So my hope for you this week is that you would feel that you would feel that God has sought you out in such a way to remind you of how valuable, how loved, how much he cares for you and desires for you to do incredible things for his kingdom, and that we would do it because we are listening and responding to his love and bringing that into our world. Amen? Amen. All right. So here's my encouragement to you. 1, let God continue to search that out in you. 2, find people to walk alongside with. Get connected. Take that next step and find a community that you can do that together, that reminds you as you go. So that's our encouragement for you this week. We will be back next week talking about feeling anxious. I don't know if anyone has felt anxious recently, but that might feel like one we want to talk about. So have fun. Get out there in the lobby. Connect with people. If you need prayer or connection, come on up front. God bless you, and have a great week.